Would it be crazy if I told you that most sports bettors think that the goal is to pick winners and that's how they become profitable? Sure sounds crazy because obviously we want to win and pick the most winners. However, if this is your strategy, I've got bad news. It's probably not going to work out the way that you're hoping it's going to. Winning at sports betting isn't about picking the winner right every single time or even stressing out about predicting the future. Winning at sports betting looks a lot like finding bets where the odds are actually going to be in your favor. And that idea is called value betting, and that's exactly what I'm going to be going over today. But before we do that, one thing that I want you to do is just read this over and over and over again. Screenshot it if you need to. Just study it because this is one of the core principles of positive EV betting. Value does not equal winning more often. Value equals winning long term. So if you're going through a long streak, make sure you go back to this because again, it's one of the key principles to positive EV betting. But anyways, though, let's go ahead and jump into this visual that I have for you. And it is just value in betting and really calculating some of the implied probabilities to our estimated probabilities, which is one of the biggest things that we can do. So again, what we have here on the left side is just the value in betting. Looking at this, and I'll go over some of the basic steps. Whereas whenever we go over here to the right side, that's where we'll be actually breaking down some of these formulas. So with that said, let's go ahead and go over here to this side where we're looking at the value in betting. Now, whenever we're betting with value, what we really want to do is use math to be able to tip the scale. What we see here is we have something called VIG and we have something called true odds. Now, the VIG, if you're not familiar with what VIG is, that's essentially the price you pay for playing on a certain sports book. They are going to juice things one way or set lines in a certain way that no matter what, they're going to be able to find a way to profit. And by saying that, you're probably starting to realize, okay, if the books are going to profit no matter what, then I feel like I'm essentially playing their game, right? They're going to profit over me no matter what side I pick, whether that's over or under. And that's exactly true. That's what we're trying to figure out is we don't want to use necessarily their odds to where they're profiting. We want to use what's called that true value odds, right? And whenever we calculate these true value odds, this is kind of the next step. We calculate those true value odds. We see a play priced at minus 115 and minus 135. We know that the minus 115 is better odds. We are going to get a lot more payout. If we bet $100, we're going to get a lot more payout on that minus 115 than we would get for that minus 135. So that better value play is what we would want to take, which is why we're going to line shop. And again, a lot of these steps are going to be what I go over. Now, this here, it's all about data and not luck. A lot of people in sports betting are still convinced that it's just all about luck and, being there at the right time, whatever, right? It's about the data. And that's kind of all that I can say with this is whenever we're looking at all of these sports bets and all of these markets, that's the biggest thing is it's about the data and it's not about being lucky. It's just putting the work in and seeing what these books are saying. It's very stress-free, matter of fact, right? Because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do, capture true odds and maximize profit. I can't think of a single sport out there that does not want to maximize profit, but what I can do is name you 1,000 sports bettors that don't actually figure out what the true odds are, and they don't inevitably end up figuring out how to maximize their profits, right? And that's exactly the purpose of this video. So I have kind of broken this down into kind of these 5 simple steps. One, what we're going to do is convert the odds for that implied probability. Then from there, we're going to remove the VIG, figure out why are the sports books kind of overpricing this and how to figure that out. 3 from there, then we're going to price shop. That's probably one of the biggest things is looking across the rest of the market and seeing, where we can get the cheapest line and where we can get the most bang for our buck. From there, we're going to place the value bets that we find and what we like. And then 5, and maybe the most complicated of them all, is betting consistently. That's, again, maybe one of the harder things to do in positive EV betting. It doesn't take long to build out these slips. I'll go through some of that as well. But the thing is you need to be placing 20 to 50 slips every single day. A lot of sports bettors right now are not placing that many slips. They're just kind of going all in on a couple slips, and that's kind of all that they do. That's not the idea of this. We need to understand, again, we're not going to win often. we are trying to win long term. So if we can get these value plays and just win a couple of them, I promise you, you will end up profitable, but we need to understand, again, exactly how to do that. So now we're here on these implied probabilities. And again, biggest thing here, we're going to see sports books who are going to set their odds for a certain over or under. So for this example, as you can see, for the negative odds, we have a play price at minus 150, and then on the positive odds in the green is plus 200. So let's go look at the yellow and the negative odds. Implied probability for a negative odd and positive odd have two different formulas, right? So again, here in the yellow, what we're going to look at is the absolute value. So we have a play at minus 150. And if you're not sure what absolute value is, it's just how many spots from zero is this number. Minus 150, positive 150 are both 150 spots from zero. So with it being a negative odd, we would just put that plus, make it a positive 150. So do 150 over 150 plus 100. What we get here is this 150 over 250, which gives us 60%. So what does that tell us? Essentially what that tells us at these sports books, think that this play has a 60% chance of hitting. So if you see these prices at minus 150, then it has a 60% chance to hit, or what these sports books think. Now, for the other side, for the positive odds at plus 200, what we're going to do is actually not include any of the absolute value. We're not going to include it on top. We're just going to do 100, and we're going to put the odds on the bottom. So what we end up getting is 100 over 200 plus 100, which gives us 100 over 300, and that breaks down to 33.3%, right? So again, the sports books think that a plus 200 odd has a 33.3% odds to hit. Now, again, if this seems like too much math, that's okay, because I'm telling you, with this process, you do not need to calculate this. You do not need to remember this. But what you do need to understand are exactly how are these sports books trying to manipulate you in a sense of a sports bettor to where you are playing their game and you're not playing your game, which your game should be to maximize those profits that we had talked about earlier. So let's go here. All right, this is an actual play that I kind of was looking at. What we're going to do is we're going to convert the odds to implied probability. We can see here that on this Jimmy Butler over or under, we're getting this at minus 110 for his over and minus 120 for his under. So what we want to do again is apply those implied probabilities. Both of these are negatives, so we want to use that negative formula that we had used, that we had demonstrated earlier. So again, minus 110, we're going to include that both on top and bottom, multiply those by 100, and what we get is a 52.38% chance, meaning that the books are thinking that this is a 52.38% chance to hit on his over. So then we go over here to his under, again, minus 120. We want to use those negative, that negative value or the negative formula. And what we get here is actually a 54.55% odds to hit. Now, what I want y'all to look at, if you need to pause this, think about it. What do you recognize with this 52 and 54%? Hint? Does it add up to 100? Right. It's actually a little bit more than 100. And that's the idea. I don't know how sports bettors aren't necessarily seeing this. So that's what we want to do, is to be able to remove the VIG. For the over, we got a 52.38% odds to hit. For the under, 54.55. That is a total of 106.93. That other 6.93% is the cost of paying for using their book. That's 6.93%. That's how much they're expected to earn, no matter whether you take that over or under, just because you are using their book. So what we want to do is be able to remove that. And that's, again, removing this VIG. There is a formula for that. In order to calculate our fair probability, what we're going to do is that implied probability, that 52 or 54% that we just calculated that, and divide it by the total implied probability, which is this 106.93, and then multiply it by 100. So again, let's look here. This is that over and under. That over was priced at minus 110, gave us that 52.38% odds to hit. We divide that by that 106.93, which was the total. Multiply that by 100, we can see we get roughly 49%. Odds to hit is actually what they're thinking. So it's slightly less than 50% odds to hit. Wherever they were telling us it was actually 52 whenever we're looking at how they currently have it priced. Now for their under, as you can tell, minus 120, you probably assumed that, again, minus 120, you're going to have a slightly better odds of hitting that compared to the minus 110. And that's exactly that. That calculates to 51.01%. So again, does that equal 100? Roughly 49 plus 51 does equal 100, meaning that this is where we see no house edge. So now from here is where we can start to finally line shop, and that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm still using this Jimmy Butler play, right? Jimmy Butler, though, on this book, we can see it priced at 27.5. This first book over here, this 28.5 at minus 106, this is Pinnacle. Pinnacle had this price at minus 106. Then the next one was FanDuel at 28.5 at minus 110, which is the example that I showed you above. And then the next one is DraftKings at minus 105. All I need to say, though, is all of these books have this line priced at 28.5. That is 1 whole point higher, points plus rebounds plus assists, higher than what we are getting from this book, meaning that we are getting a 54.84% odds to hit on this play. The over on this play, which again, if we were to take the over on FanDuel, we're only getting roughly a 49% chance to hit. But if we take it on this book, we're getting a 54.84. That is roughly a 6% difference that we're getting. That is the value. That is how we become profitable long-term, is by taking bets where the odds are actually in our favor. Why would I want to take that book on FanDuel if it's not even going to hit 50% of the time, where I can grab this and it's going to hit roughly 55% of the time? That's a smart bet for me to be taking that over 27.5. I'm getting a whole point edge compared to the rest of the market. Now from here is the last part of this, and it's to calculate the positive EV. Now, kind of went over this a little bit in that first video, but EV is just the percent odds that you're going to win times that your win payout. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use, just for easy math, is a $100 bet or a $110 bet. And then the percent loss. So again, that 54.84 that we see above, subtract that by 100, and that would give you that percent odds to loss. And then by your loss amount. So how much did you bet? That's what you would put there. So again, if we broke that down over here, what we have is that 54.84% times 100. So again, that 54.84%, subtracted that from 1, we got a 45.16 times our 110 bet that we play. So again, if we won, we'd win 100, and that was that 100 there. If we lost, we'd lose that 110. So again, what we get is 54.84 minus 49.68, giving us a 5.16 edge compared on this play compared to the rest of the market. And that's exactly how we become profitable sports bettors, is by using this exact same strategy here. Now, again, if you wanted to do this a lot simpler and a lot easier, then what I highly recommend is using a book like Daily Grind Fantasy. As you can see here, it goes ahead and calculates all of it for you. This positive EV percentage that we see here, this is not the same exact play, this Jimmy Butler play. This is a refresh market that we see. But what we see here is Tobias Harris under 14.5 points. If we were to take this on Novig, we see it at plus 115. That's a 49.1% odds to hit. But when we look across the rest of the market, we see Pinnacle, FanDuel, DraftKings, all of these books offering it at the exact same line of 14.5. But the difference is it's minus 106, minus 106, minus 115, blah, 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 whatever. All of these books are giving you an average price of minus 110 compared to the plus 115 that you can grab it at. That is a 25-point difference from what we were getting on Novig to what we were getting from the rest of the market. So again, all of those formulas that I just went over was more so for you to comprehend and understand how these sports books are just essentially trying to screw you over and take your money. So bet sites like this, like Daily Grind Fantasy, and guys, if you wanted 25% off of your first month, you could use the code BENCH. All of that information is down in the description below. So y'all definitely check that out. I promise you, it's one of the best investments you'll make in your sports betting journey. So anyways, though, 5.57%. I didn't have to calculate anything on my own. I log in, I see this play, and I'm like, wow, that's a great play. I go ahead and I go place it. Now, the thing to understand with this, again, plus 115, minus 110, neither one of these are considered favorites by any means. So that doesn't mean that you're essentially guaranteed to win. I'm not looking at this Tobias Harris play. I'm not looking at that Jimmy Butler play and saying, hey, both of these plays are going to win. I can't wait for them to. And let me go ahead and start planning what I'm going to do with that money, right? That's not what it's about. I'm not saying that this is a guarantee. This is a lock, right? But if I place enough of these, essentially we're going to start to see our bankroll increase and increase and increase over time. And that's the name of the game. So you need to be smart with this. And again, the next step to being smart, and that's exactly what I'll be going over in my next video, is the bankroll management side of that, the Kelly criterion versus flat betting. All of that I will be going over in the next video, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let me know down in the comments how I did, if I maybe made something a little bit more confusing and I can explain better through text. Either way, get connected with me. I'll DM you, whatever we need to do in order to help you be a better sports bettor. That's kind of my goal here with all of this. Anyways, though, guys, I hope you appreciated it. I have a blast doing this stuff, making these visuals for you, and again, really just helping y'all be the best sports bettors that you can be. Best of luck to y'all on your journeys. Let's profit today. Follow me on X and let's crush it. Anyways, see y'all later.